Hello, everyone. Turning on my camera. Sorry, you guys, we're getting some technical difficulties, but we're trying to get this all set up for you. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I'm Callie Isley Tracy, joined by Mr. Miles Isley Tracy. I'm not leading today's webinar, but I am going to take you guys through some housekeeping if I can get the correct screen to show for you. In the meantime, if you've joined us for webinars before, if you'll go ahead and let us know where you're joining us from. And eventually, hopefully, you'll be able, oh, hang on, he stole my screen. All right, I'm gonna show this one for you guys, hopefully. All right, here we are. So if you can make sure that your computer audio or phone option is chosen so that you can hear all of the important information that we have to share with you guys today. You'll be able to pull out this little go-to webinar or go-to meeting panel at any point and ask questions and everything throughout the presentation. There's a few of us here that are going to answer questions for you behind the scenes. So be sure to ask questions throughout. And if you can hear me, you can see my screen okay. If you'll go ahead and go into that questions window and let us know where you're joining us from. Thank you guys. So many of you guys are already on top of it. Well, we appreciate you guys being here. Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and pass this over to Ari and have him start sharing the presentation from his side. But thank you guys so much and stay tuned.
So do you have me?
We do have you.
Okay.
And see your screen.
And it went back to a white screen, didn't it?
Yeah.
What is going on? Play from current slide. Doesn't want me to do it in that format. All right. All I can do is blame Microsoft on this one. Let me give it one more shot. Play from current slide.
You just need to probably change it so your slide is playing on the same screen as your presentation.
All right, let me just do this. Which might help. Sorry, guys. It doesn't want to do it. I've only got one screen on and it's still causing the problem. All right, well, we'll just do it this way. Can everybody see my screen? Can we see it? Really want to get the slideshow going though. It's without the animations. Todd, any ideas?
I can open the presentation on my side if you want, Ari.
Well, let me just try one more thing. Let me just try doing it not showing the application and actually showing
Full window.
The full window and see if that helps. But it's only asking me about the application. Sorry, everybody, for this technical piece. This isn't us. Callie, make yourself the presenter and then make me the presenter again. And I'll try that. If not, I'll just go through. And meanwhile, we have more people signing in, so that's good too. All right, and make me the presenter again. And I'm going to just go with main screen. Okay, show my screen, and now let's see what happens when I say play for the cards. And we have action. Good, everybody?
That's great.
Looks
Okay.
awesome.
All right, so let me, okay, so hi, I'm Ari Lowenstein, Chief Strategy Officer for Brandwise. They asked me today to do this tech update, and let's just say my first reaction was, you want me to do the tech update? How about the technical people? They said, don't worry, we'll be there with you. They asked me to do the tech update because I'm not the technical person, and I wanted to really understand, especially this part of the credit cards, how it's working, what it does. And what I can tell you is, once I got into it, it works really easily. When you do the work that you need to do in order to get your side set up, you're going to find that it actually works quite well. So we're gonna start off right away though before we get into that. So the agenda for today, we're going to do a quick recap of 2.0 updates. Then we're going to get into the credit cards, then some transit updates. Then we'll cover some other materials. Today we have I'm here, Todd's here, CEO, Dylan, product owner, Iris, our training specialist, and Callie, who you know. So everyone will be there to point out anything I don't get right. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about some updates in Reach. First exciting thing is that catalogs are now active. What does that mean? It means that any catalogs that you've been publishing through Content Manager are now active. And that means that they're also fully shoppable on Reach 2.0. So what'll it look like? It'll look like this. Here's Bellatuno, and there off to the right, you can see where it says Show Catalogs. The customer clicks on Show Catalogs, and right now Bellatuno just has one, which is probably their active catalog, which their agencies have published. And when you go into the catalog, all the functionality is there. They can add to cart. They can do the shopping right there from it. So that great functionality that was always there in Reach 1.0 is now in 2.0, and we're really excited about this. The next part about Reach that is that's going to be important for suppliers is this category URL. So previously, there was the ability to grab a URL from either a product or a brand. Now it's actually possible to grab it from a category. So what does that mean? Category means that as the retailer is, let me close this because Kelly, I can see your messages when they pop up now. When they're going through the, when they're navigating, and they've gotten to a category, you've gotten to a category, 8 Oak Lane wants to show what their in decor, their bar decor, they can go up here and they can grab this URL. A sales rep can grab the URL, one buyer can show another buyer the URL, but they'll actually be able to grab that and then include that in an email and direct a buyer directly in to see that category. This is a really powerful tool. We'll get into later on, just a reminder that categories are really important and that they're being used now across all Reach sites. But this is a great update that you can direct a customer to directly to a category. Okay, now we're going to get into the credit card piece. And in looking at the materials and having conversations with Todd and Dylan, Iris and Callie and a lot of other people, what I felt was that if we can define the terms so that you can understand what it is that we're talking about, that it'll work better. And in doing that, we're going to explain a lot about how Brandwise developed a strategy for how we're working with this. So we're going to start with a term that you might hear been used a lot in the industry, which is PCI compliance. So what's PCI compliance? Payment card industry compliance refers to technical and operational standards that businesses follow to secure and protect credit card data provided by cardholders and transmitted through card processing transactions. Basically, how to keep everything safe. PCI standards for compliance are developed and managed by this council. So what Brandwise is doing is we're making sure that all the different processes that exist within our ecosystem are following or within PCI compliance. What's the translation of PCI compliance is we don't want you to be the weak link. And if you follow the rules, you'll protect your customers and none of these things that are happening on screen will happen. But that's what we want. That's what PCI compliance is about. And if we all follow the rules, we won't have cards being compromised. We won't have retailers being frustrated. Enterprise resource planning. Raise your hand if you know what enterprise resource planning is. Well, I can't see any of you, so it doesn't matter. That's the ERP. So a lot of this always to your ERP, from the ERP, with your ERP. And ERP is enterprise resource planning. It's a system that manages your financials, possibly your inventory, your operations, your manufacturing. What is that? It's the system that you use to bill your clients. So this might be QuickBooks or NetSuite or SoloView or SAP or Sage or whatever system you use. That's your ERP. We're going to talk a lot about Stream. So Stream is a Brandwise product. Now, there are a lot of different product names within Brandwise. And often what happens within companies, certainly one that I worked at, all of the products are often referred to as Brandwise. You get that from Brandwise. You find that on Brandwise. Today, we're going to be referencing a specific one, a family of products, which is Stream. Stream is the product where you actually go to retrieve your orders. And this is where the part of the credit card processing happens. And this is what we're going to be looking at today. So within the Stream family, there's no Stream. So what does that mean? So for a supplier that doesn't have Stream or Stream Lite, they're basically getting orders that are being emailed to them or faxed from the rep. So if you work with an agency, you don't have to have Stream or Stream Lite, but basically what you receive are either email, PDF, or faxes that just has the order on it, the customer information, email, etc. But that's it. It's a static piece, and there's no ability for you to get any credit card information through that. Then there's Stream Lite. So Stream Lite is an interactive order dashboard. We're going to show you what it looks like a bit later. If you haven't seen it, we're going to show you one aspect of it. And that does include, so it includes some reporting. There's a product called Insight on there. And it also includes the ability for you to get tokenized credit cards, actually to get tokens, which we're going to explain. But so Stream Lite is what a lot of you may be using that are on this call. And that's our basic service, which we really recommend that everybody has. And Stream has all of what Stream Lite has, plus it has integration. Now that integration is going to vary company to company how far they've gone in terms of the integration with ERP. But what Stream does do is it prepares and batches all of the orders daily or however it is that you set it to come directly into your ERP. So it eliminates any data entry. And potentially, depending on how much you use, how much integration you do, potentially no steps for the credit cards. So I'm going to go through this again because the difference in these is important. There's no Stream. It's not required that you have it when you work with an agency, although many agencies may require you to have it, but you can still get orders. There's Stream Lite, which gives you a dashboard and does have the credit card functionality in it. And then there's Stream, which gives you a higher level of integration. And gives you the opportunity to have a credit card process where you're actually just working from within your ERP. So the question is, to Stream or not to Stream? Well, it depends on what your company is. We recommend that if you have 50 orders a month or more, that you're looking at Stream, because it's going to be a lot of data entry and there's a lot of efficiencies that you can get by using it. Stream Lite is really what we recommend is for a minimum. Everyone takes credit cards now, and this is going to give you a secure way to do this. And then no Stream, which we really don't recommend because everything's manual and you can't capture credit cards. And I know a lot of this sounds like what I just said in the previous slide, but we really want anyone that doesn't have this or to understand what the differences are. Next term that we're going to reference is hosted PCI. Hosted PCI is a third party. It's a company that basically what they do is when a credit card is put in, it has to be put in live, either through Reach or Play, which is our in-person. So Reach is online, is the marketplace app, is marketplace platform. Play is what your sales reps use. When they put in a credit card, it passes through Brandwise. It doesn't stop at Brandwise, and it goes directly to hosted PCI. They are the company that holds that data, and they generate a token. Token's a unique number, a combination of numbers and letters. And when that token is used, hosted PCI makes the connection between that token and that credit card with your credit card processor, and that's how the transaction goes through. So they're a third party that's holding it, and what we're doing is we're giving a window through Reach or Play directly there. What's a token? So a token is what you put into the slot so you can go into the subway. No, they don't do that anymore. So a token is what credit card tokenization, I'm going to read this because it's really, really clear. It prevents a customer's sensitive data, credit card information, from residing within a company's internal network by providing a randomly generated unique placeholder called a token, which is a combination of letters and numbers. It's not a coded version of it, doesn't reorder the numbers, it's not doing some math that can be undone. It's a unique new identifier that only hosted PCI holds the key for. It says this equals this. What that means is that if the token gets into the wrong hands, or if the token is exposed, no one can do anything with that number except for you. And you're the right hands, you're not the wrong hands. So credit card information is put in, hosted PCI takes that number, puts a token on it. You have access to that token. When you use that token, we'll talk about the different ways you can do that, When you use that token, you then that transaction can go through your gateway. That token calls up that number goes through your gateway. You never see the credit card. No one ever sees the credit card. And no one's holding the credit card, maybe more importantly. So why a token? So if you are never handling or storing a customer's credit card data, then you can't inadvertently be part of the problem. And this is what we're finding. The ways in which systems are being accessed. This is the safest way, because if you don't have the credit card information, if it's not stored in your ERP, if it's not being sent by email, if it's not being done anything with that, where it's actually being stored somewhere, then nobody can get access to it. And this is this part is where a lot of what we've discussed, we're going to discuss what we've discussed, is about solving a problem that's being caused externally. This next piece actually strategically makes your work much more efficient, because once you have a token for a customer, you can use that, and we're going to show you how. You can use that token to apply to reorders, to apply to back orders, partial orders, to charge for freight, without having to go back, call the customer again, trying to see if it's still in, in the past it would have still been a stream, but it would have been masked. You couldn't use that anymore. This token, because of how it's configured, you can go back and you can use this again. Considering right now the issues with inventory and back orders, we're all going to be doing partial shipments. This is almost worth the price of admission, because once you have that token, you can use it again and again and again for that customer. And we're going to show you how that works. So within the token, there are two different kinds of token. Now we're going to cover this so that you have the background for it. You're only actually going to be working with one of them, but it'll explain a little bit what the difference is between the processes when we get to it. There's one that we're going to call a generic token. This is kind of more in line, and Todd, correct me if I'm wrong, with what we've done in the past. There's a token that's there, and that token works for that customer and that card. So this is created if, and we'll this part, if you haven't done the process yet to get your credit card gateway incorporated or connected to your Stream or Stream Lite account, this is something that you'll be using to go. You'll get a generic token. You'll actually be able to see the customer's credit card. We're going to get to that at the end. But this is a generic token, which is specific to your card processor, and which each time you need to go in and get manually. The supplier specific token is the one when you've integrated your gateway with Stream. This is going to be tied to that customer, that card, you as a supplier, and that agency. So and that is actually going to be stored within Stream, and that's the one that you're going to be able to use multiple times without having to go and do anything to get it. And when you do this process, which we'll explain to you what it is that you need to do. There's some messaging that's already in Stream, that Stream Lite that you should see. Your agencies are aware of the process. So once you've begun it, there'll be messaging that you'll need to give to them, and they've been trained, and they're going to be prepared to assist you in what you need to do for the next steps. All right, so let's take a look at what it looks like. So once you've connected your credit card gateway, once you've worked with our team to do this, and we'll get to the process of what you have to do, I wanted to show you, and I know that seems like reverse order, I want to show you just how easy it is to use once you have it. Like, this is the payoff. This is the big cheese. So here you are in Stream Lite, and there's a real simple button right there that says order payment. So you click on order payment. When you click on order payment, this is the screen you get. Here are all your orders. And here are all your orders. Even if they've been batched in, even if you've already looked at them, these are here, and they're here permanently. So what is this? This tells you the customer, this tells you the order date, the ship date, the PO number, all of the information that you might need. And over here on the right are these two great features. Enter amount and confirm charge. So let's say you have here's an order. It was a $3,600 order, and we charged $2,005 already, but now we need to send out the reorder, and it's another $500. We put in $500. We push confirm, we click confirm charge. It gives us a confirmation screen. Now this is the example that I talked about, but it gives us a confirmation screen. That confirmation screen lets you look at all of this, and that CVV part is just to confirm that that is in the system, that that came through with the order, which is important. And then you click charge card. And that's it. And when I say that's it, that's it. So going back, these are the steps. If you do the work to get your credit card gateway integrated with your Stream or Streamlight account, and with Stream, you might not even, if you have the full integration, you might not even have to do these few steps. But this is it. You click order payment. You put in the amount you want to charge. So you want to pre-charge the card. You know that how much you're going to ship. You can ship complete. You put in the whole amount. You know it's a partial shipment, but you don't have freight yet. Okay. You put in the amount for the shipment. You want to charge the card before you ship. Your 3PL isn't going to get you the cost of the shipping back yet. So you go ahead and you charge it. Okay. You click confirm charge. There it is. You can confirm all the information. You click charge card and you've charged it. Now, the next day, come back, they say, okay, the freight was $23.68. So you go to order payment again, you put in $23.68. Oops. Put it in the slot. You click confirm charge, check the details, and you're there. That's it. So let me just make sure that you all can hear me. Am I still live?
No, we lost you, Art.
No, you
You're
didn't.
still live and you're still showing your whole screen.
Okay, great. All right, so now let's talk about what happens if you don't do what we need you to do.
I want to answer one quick thing live that somebody brought up because we don't show up here. Where you see that success message that the card's been charged successfully, you'll also get a message there if that card's been declined, which was a question somebody asked. So it's messages coming back from the processor, the same as if you were keying them in. So you'll see that decline message as well.
Excellent. Okay, so let's go back here. And okay, so now the question is, what happens on September 7th? So there's been messaging. Oh, it's doing it again. Don't know why that happened. All right, so let's just go here. So what happens on September 7th? What happens on September 7th? There's been messaging going out. There's going to be messaging in Stream. You're going to see it pop up everywhere. After September 7th, the current systems that are in place to allow you to access non-tokenized credit cards is going to stop. What will happen after that? If you have not yet set up your gateway with Stream or Streamlight, you'll have to use one of the processes that's PCI compliant. Now, the PCI compliant method to get the card manually steps, and it's a lot of steps because in order for it to be PCI compliant, there are more steps that you have to go through. Think of it like when you're electronically signing a document, or when you're at the supermarket, you put your credit card in. It says $68.15. Yes. Okay, put your code in. Yes, put my code in. Do you really want to charge it? Yes. Do you mean you really want to? Yes. All of those steps are to make sure that you really mean to charge it, and that it's, by creating more, I guess, for lack of a better word, more process, more confirmation through it, that keeps it PCI compliant. So I'm going to go through this. Again, all of this is avoided if you connect your processing gateway to Streamlight. If you go through that process before September 7th, it's the screens we just did, ding, 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 and you charge the card. Alternatively, this is the process by which you can see the actual credit card from the customer. The first thing is you're going to need to have a hosted PCI account set up. The instructions to get started in that is go into Stream or Streamlight, and it'll show you. As you go through, if you make certain choices, fill in all the forms, and if it's clear that you're not going to be able to connect, if you're not going to do it, or if your processor isn't available yet, they're going to get you set up with a hosted PCI account. Your first step would be to log into Stream or Stream Lite. You click on Order Payment in the menu bar. You search for the order that you're needing to pay. You can either search by date or by PO number. Then, oh, disappeared, there it is. So once you've found the order, there's a little eyeball that's going to click on. And Todd, if I'm not mistaken, that won't be there if your gateway is connected, correct? Dylan?
That will, I'm sorry, Ari, what was your question?
The question is, this eyeball will not show up if you've done the work to connect your credit card gateway, correct?
You'll still have the eyeball because you can still open it to look at the details in there, but.
Oh, okay. All right, so that'll still be there. Go ahead.
Never mind, go ahead.
All right. So then you click on the Go to Hosted PCI portal. So this shows up for the order, and then down here at the bottom, there's a Go to Hosted PCI portal. What we're doing is we're sending you to this third party because they're the ones that have the credit card information. We don't have it. So from here, you keep this window open. So either put your windows side by side, put it on multiple screens. You're going to go to the PCI portal, and when you get there, this will also ask, this part is important. See that little button there that says Retrieve CVV? You're going to want to keep Stream open so that you can access the CVV when you're ready for it. Then you get to step 6, where when you click on that, which was this piece here, when you click on Go to Hosted PCI portal, that's going to take you to the Hosted PCI portal where you're going to put in your username and password. You're going to be provided with that by going through the process with Stream to get all that. Again, all this can be avoided if you get integrated, if you get your gateway put in. Okay, so you put in your username and password. You hover over CC admin and then click on View Credit Card. From the pop-up in step 5, you take basically, here you have this credit card token value, and you have to and put that. So this is a critical piece, and I'm going to get on a soapbox just for a moment. Everyone likes the fast answer. The fast answer might be to copy a credit card. Copy, paste. When you've done that, it's now on the clipboard in your machine, which means you're no longer PCI compliant. It's as simple as that. Open up 2 windows next to each other so that you can see the credit card. You can switch back and forth in order to get the information. And so you've put in the token here. Sorry, right. So when you put this in and you click. So wait, sorry, Dylan, explain this piece to me. I just confused myself.
This piece right here is what you have in this. Yeah. The mapped CC numbers, the token. So you put in the token, you can paste it in there. Then you you key in that. So basically, it's going to return the full CC number. So I believe what you were saying is you should have your terminal up, so your processor, whatever that may be. You should have this up so you can just read off the credit card, so you're not copying and pasting.
And this second number is like a CAPTCHA that's just here to, it's one more security level.
Just to make sure you're not a robot.
Okay, so basically back here in step 5, where you got the token, see where it says copy token? You click on that copy token, and you're gonna put that token number in here. You're gonna fill in this CAPTCHA, which is that number. You're gonna click View Full Credit Card Number, and then the credit card number is gonna be displayed on the screen. You should have that open, and next to it, however it is that your credit card gateway, and you can put the information in right then. Don't copy and paste. You copy and paste, you've put it into your system. Don't copy it and put it into your ERP. It's not secure. And everything along this line, if you follow this procedure of copying, looking at the number and putting it in here, that is actually PCI compliant. It's a pain in the neck to go through these 9 steps, but it is PCI compliant so long as you're not recording that information anywhere. Does that make sense? Okay. I want to take, before we get, okay, so let's go through some FAQs, but then we're going to pause for a minute because I want to take some questions on this before we get into some other non-related credit card pieces. So which credit card gateways are integrated? Dylan, you want to talk a little bit about this and these two questions?
Yeah, there's a lot of them, but I'll just ramble off a few of the popular ones off the top of my head. So Stripe is a really popular one, Authorize.net, Paytrace, ChargeLogic. Trying to think.
We've got about 20 or 30 of them that are already integrated.
There's about 20 or so, yeah, that are already integrated.
And we started with the one with the gateways that are most common, and we're kind of working down through the list. And what's coming up next, which we know is a big one?
Yeah, so QuickBooks is currently in development from Hosted PCI, which is the company I already mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
And I've been in communication with them. Hopefully they'll have that for us this week or next week. So.
Okay, excellent. So certainly well before September 7th. So if that's your processor, get started. So how is it communicated to agencies and reps once a supplier has accepted the new process? When you go through the process, the implementation team is going to guide you in the messaging and how you need to let the agencies know and what role they play in it. If your credit card gateway is not integrated, then you have two. There's one, you could talk to us and say it's not integrated, we want it to be. We're gathering these together as people are answering. There's Stream and Stream Lite, there's a link which we're also going to include in the email that comes after this for you to get started with this process. Please fill out the form. The form is also going to tell us which gateway you use. That's going to really, help us prioritize. But the other piece is what happens is that you'll be using the manual process. So we want to avoid that. We've got over 2 months before this is the change permanently happens, and you can see how easy it was to work out. So get involved, fill out the form, get the answer, and you'll be working with either Dylan or Iris, working with someone on the Iris and someone else in the implementation team to get you set up. If you don't act before September 7th, if I'm saying the same thing 8 times, you'll be using that manual 9-step process with 15 subpoints. If you don't have Stream or Stream Lite, which we covered at the beginning, you're going to have to be reaching out to the customers and getting the credit cards. Your reps cannot put it in the comments. It doesn't come through. Even if they try to play with the code, it doesn't come through. So you'll be calling the customer to get the credit card. And we know that, and this I tell you from as a former sales manager, your rates of canceled orders go way up when you call back to get that credit card. It's just a fact of life. You call to get the credit card and they say, well, let me take a look at that order. You know what, can you put that off a month? Instead of you have an actionable order and you can move with it. Todd, what was the percentage rate? We looked at that last year.
Cancellations are about 30%.
30%. So,
yeah.
So if you're trying to figure out why is it worth the time, first of all, worth the money to get to Paper Stream Lite, which is not much, just the cancellation rate of calling back to get the credit card, the customer is no longer with the rep, they're no longer at the show, they're looking at it, and they'll say, you know what, can you ship that in a month? Or, you know what, I'm going to take a look at that order. Or, you know what, I think I'm just going to hold off on that for now. 30% of the orders get canceled when you call back to get the credit card. So as a sales manager, I'll tell you, light myself on fire, pull my hair out, make sure you get this done because you're gonna keep those orders.
Hey,
okay,
I want to make a quick comment because we've gotten a bunch of questions for this,
sure.
which is kind of typical. So this process through Stream and Stream Lite, Brandwise does not process credit cards. So what we're doing is we're taking that we built this integration into Hosted PCI. Hosted PCI has all these connectors to all these different credit card processors. So they're basically taking that information, putting it to your processor, and it's going through the same credit card processor you use today. The benefit is you're not having to store those credit cards and do anything like that and key them in because that's not PCI compliant. So we've had a number of questions about transaction fees and how long before you get paid and all that. Brandwise isn't doing any of that. What we're doing is giving you a compliant method that allows tokens to be passed to your existing processor if they're integrated through Hosted PCI or another method. But we're not actually processing credit cards, collecting.
We're not we're not even seeing any credit card information. It's not passing through our system in any way.
So just to clear that up a little bit. So we're making it a secure process for you to get it into your gateway or into your existing processor, but we're not doing
and to use a gateway that you've chosen, that you use for the rest of your business, right? So the rates that you've negotiated, all of that relationship, your bank, we don't have anything to do with that. We're just providing the secure way for you to do it. Okay, am I still sharing my screen, Kelly?
Yes, you are.
Okay. All right, so the quick recap, like Todd just mentioned, is that this is secure. It's not that this is more secure, this is secure. It's completely compliant. It also enables you to charge multiple orders, to charge back orders, to charge partial payments. If you have a customer that's putting 50% down and then 50% net 30, this is the perfect tool to do it. And there's and this last recap, this link on here, this new stream process, we're going to provide this link with you so you can read even more. And you can ask us. We've got a number of our customer support people who are trained up on this and who are experts. But hopefully after today's call, you've gotten a better understanding. Before I went to the next slide, actually, was what I was gonna. If there are other questions we want to cover before we pivot off of the credit card piece?
And I did want to mention too, I know that there's been a lot of questions coming through so far. So keep in mind, there are those three options that Ari identified through this presentation. So if you are already on that automatic process where all of this information is getting delivered to your credit card processor, we just personally need to update some of the information on our side. So we just ask everyone fill out this form that you see listed there. I put it in the chat window for you. But nothing really with your process will change. If you're on option 2, that's going to be for all Stream and Stream Lite users. That's going to be where you would charge payments directly from the Stream dashboard, but it's still going to be charged through your credit card processor, so we're not changing anything there for you. That third option is where you're manually retrieving credit card information. Yeah. So that will be the process for some of you. Main benefit to just getting set up on this new process, especially during this time before September, is that if you're like any suppliers that I've spoken with and you've accidentally batched an order and then you didn't actually get the payment information, that token will continue to exist for you, so you can go back in, you can charge the card and access it. So if you've ever been one of those people calling into our support team asking, is there any way that I can get this credit card information without contacting the customer? This new process is going to be that setup for you. You can go back in, you can charge it multiple times. So if the order was taken in January, but your stuff doesn't actually ship till August, and that's when you're going to charge the card, you'll still be able to just charge the card using that token that was created with the order. So it should be a pretty seamless process for you guys, and we're happy to work with you and answer any individual questions after.
So it's so beyond, and this is the part that I kind of alluded to at the beginning. When I first was looking at this, I felt that this was, oh no, this is something we all have to do. This is a pain. This isn't advancing our work. Reality is, it is advancing. Not only is it making it more secure, which is really important because the threats out there are real, but this ability to so easily charge the card when you need to, partial shipments, reorders, freight, all that piece, and it's there, secure. That interface in Stream Lite is excellent. So it's, yeah, I'm excited about it. So let's move on because we'll get through a couple more pieces. And again, one more reminder about September 7th. Okay, a couple of transit updates we want to talk about. Some of them will show, some of them have been out there. So in the transit file, so these are using transit, when you download it, there are, there's more information, there's new information that's being updated fairly frequently. So the next time that you go in, download the file and take a look at the guidelines tabs and also the examples tabs, because there's more information in there. We're gathering more data, we're using it in more sophisticated ways, so it's worth the time to check it out. Currency, if you haven't been on any of the other webinars or read the announcements that were made, we're handling Canadian dollars, US dollars, Australian dollars. Are those the three right now, Todd?
Yep, those are the three.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
So if you're selling through Brandwise in other countries, take a look at the file and learn about how to do that, because there are marketplaces there are agencies there are associations in Canada as well. Categories, we did a lot. We talked a lot about it earlier in the spring. The way they're being used is really beautiful by a lot of suppliers, and we're excited about that. And now also with the ability to link to that, to send a URL out to that. We'll show you kind of what a quick example of that looks like in a minute. Inventory, quantity on hand, availability date, more important than ever. This is all live now. When you load that information, it's going to pop up. I'm going to show you what that looks like. Like I said previously, the example tabs are very useful that are on that transit download. Look through them, take the time to look to see how it is that they're used. That'll give you a great starting point. We also now have, this has been there for a few months now, but the ability to view previously uploaded product files. If you needed to start from scratch, or show something to someone else, or if you wanted to see what is it that we did, you can download those. So let's start with categories. So here's an example, just a very quantity on hand. Those are little screenshots that I grabbed from a transit file. These show you, so this should say 4/21/21, but basically that date that's there, an availability date. On the right, this is where it's going to show up. So not only can you show the quantity on hand, but you can also show the availability date. This is now live on all the Reach 2.0 sites.
Ari, we lost your audio. Mind going back a little bit? We lost your audio amount of time. If you can go back one more slide.
One more to categories?
Yeah, if you can start from here. We lost your audio.
Okay. All right. So we've published some great materials about how to use categories. There's a great article in the Brandwise Support Center that gives some great examples, and it gives some actual tools of how to do it and some tips of best practice. It really does create a much better user experience for your customer when they're looking through when they're on the site. It gets them to want to look at the next category, and once you start using it, it becomes fairly intuitive, and it's something you can build over time. But check out the articles and the videos that we've published, because they really will help you do it. It'll kind of become second nature. Already in the short time that we've had it, we have a lot of customers, a lot of suppliers that are, I don't want to say geeking out on it, but they're seeing the benefits of it, and they're kind of understanding intuitively how that creates a better user experience. The available date and quantity on hand. I meant to grab an example that matched. I did for one beyond the other, but when you load your transit file, available date, you can see on the right how that's going to appear on the Reach site. So that right when you put that information in, that's going to pop up. We have a lot of suppliers that are doing this on a daily basis because they want their reps and their customers to know what's available and when it's coming in. So these two pieces are part of the template, and if you start using them, I think you'll see the benefits from it. And that data now goes through both to Reach and to Play. So your reps are also going to get this information in their Play systems, and they're begging for it right now. They need to sell what you have, and you want to be directing them there. So this is a pretty big priority across the board. And this is what I mentioned earlier about the ability to view previously uploaded files. So when you go into transit, you can see there's the upload product file button, but below that, there's view previously uploaded product files. And when you click on that, you get a list. And you can view it, you can download it. And it's pretty valuable. This is some great product information that Iris wanted to put in, because this is again on the template. Iris pointed out there's a lot of great new information in here. We have the minimum required fields, but those recommended fields, the product categories, available date, quantity on hand, unit of measure, more and more agencies that we're talking to have asked us explicitly to stop saying that these are recommended and make them required. We can't do that. But for them to do their job, they need the available date, they need the quantity on hand, they need to know what they can sell. They really want the product categories, and unit of measure is really important too. So these are, we're calling them best practice, but there's a rep in North Carolina who says the inventory, the quantity on hand, availability date needs to be required, and I think she's right. The SKU is really important because this is what we use to match the image from content management to the data. So pay close attention to make sure that those match and that you're not varying how it is that you're representing them. Carriage returns in your data. Often someone will grab data from a website and they'll not realize that there's a carriage return inside. You know, that little funny thing at the end, you know, that little piece. Make sure that the data is pure and clean and that there is not a carriage return in there. No extra information. And if you can, avoid those special characters. Some of them are okay, some of them aren't. Best rule is just not include them. So this is a tool that we launched in April. This is our quick start guide. You can see this one is from April 26th. Iris and I and a few others are working on the next update, which is going to have in it a lot of what we covered today: categories, catalogs, some other pieces that we're going to, and the credit card process. But this is a URL that we'll be sharing with you. Instead of sending out new guides, we're just going to keep updating this one URL. And in there, you're going to find a lot of information, including you're going to find a pre-show checklist, which is a lot of the same material, but it's geared towards the shows and pieces that you want to make sure that you have, ready to go. And we'll be sharing that link. And lastly, the Brandwise Support Center. So I've spent some time in here since I got, since I got to the company. And there's a lot of great information in here. If you do not have an account with the Brandwise Support Center, you should. There are articles. Play and Reach, particularly Play, has incredible functionality in it. And your reps, different reps, use different pieces of it. In the Brandwise Support Center, you're going to find resources on options. You're going to find resources on building, on what it is that they can do to build collections. Even if you're not using Play, understanding what your reps can do with it to build a custom collection of unicorn product and share that with their customers. If you know what their tool can do, you as a sales manager or supplier can guide them to say, this is what you should do with the place. I know what your system can do. They're not just capturing orders with it. It's a really sophisticated tool. So there's a ton of great content in there, including content on transit, including content on everything we covered today in terms of credit cards. So that's all I've got for now. Do we want to get into some questions?
Yeah, and if you can throw up that Brandwise Insider slide, because I've seen that we have a few requests and everything too for different enhancements and everything that you guys want to see. So Brandwise Insiders is going to be the place where you're going to want to.
Can you make me not the presenter, because I'm having whatever that technical problem I had at the beginning is happening again. So.
Okay. If you want to just hit the stop sharing screen button.
It's not showing up for me. So you need to steal it from me.
Okay, thank you for whoever switched that over. So Brandwise Insiders, I'll throw that group. Thank you, Iris. I'll go ahead and throw that link in there for you guys, but that's going to be a great place for you to go to kind of submit some of these requests and stuff that we've been seeing come through the questions window. In general, like Ari mentioned, the Brandwise Support Center for any of the training materials or support that you need regarding any of these new products and stuff, that's really going to be the main go-to place that you're going to want to go for that. So here's the link for our Facebook group for the insiders. In the meantime, I see we have a few questions in here. Todd, do you want to emphasize the ones that have been the ones that have been the most frequent hitters that we wanted to.
Questions?
Yes.
And I apologize, I have a lawnmower out my window, so if that's making too much noise. I think the questions I've been answering most repetitively, one of them has to do with fees. The fees depend on which option you choose and which product you're using, whether it's Stream or Stream Lite, whether you're fully integrated, whether you're partially integrated, or whether you're not integrated. Those are things that as you go and fill the forms out, we'll guide you through some of that, and then we'll contact you specifically to talk about. But they're variable that way. The other thing has been credits. So Stream doesn't handle credits. So if you have credits, you'll handle that the way that you're doing it today. So if you've got a credit, you'll deal with that credit in the same fashion that you do today. That right now is outside of the scope of what we're doing, but one of those things that, as Callie mentioned, may be something that we look to put in down the road. The other was declined cards or cards that are expired. So in Stream, once you've gotten that transaction, it has a specific token associated with it or card reference associated with it. So if that's declined or that's expired, you'll need to contact the retailer or the buyer and get their card and process that manually. It's up to the front end, either the rep or a retailer or buyer in reach to update their credit card to get a new token. So anytime one expires or there's a new date with it or anything like that, it creates a different token for that. So the reps now have the capability to delete credit cards that are expired and add new ones in and all that type of stuff, both from a PC and an iPad. So that's been quite a few of the questions that have come through.
Do you want to speak a little bit about how multi-currency is going to change a little bit? I see we've gotten some questions about the MSRP differences and so forth.
Yeah, so, yep, sorry. What was that? Sorry.
If you want to join us on camera, we'd love to see you.
Oh, hang on. Sorry about that. What was the question? Sorry.
Multi-currency, how we
so yeah, so multi-currency today, this will talk about a couple of issues, but the multi-currency today, you can upload a single file, and we have this templated out in transit, and you provide basically the currency for each one. So if you're US and Canada, you'll provide one file that has US currency and Canadian currency, and the US minimum item amount and the Canadian item amount. You put those in one file, and it will provide the Canadian to your Canadian agencies, if you're doing that, or associations, in your US file with the US pricing to the US agencies. When we start adding more things, some of the questions have come about, like for instance, MSRP, there's only one MSRP field, so you can't have one for Canada and US. We're also in the process of building in product options and variants into the transit file. So what we've decided to do is we're building that in, which is a project we're working on now. For multi-currency down the road, which will be in the next month or so, couple months, you're actually going to be able to provide a US file and a Canadian file and an Australian file and a whatever file separately. You'll still go through the same transit process. So you'll just pick your currency and drag that file in. The benefit will be you'll have full flexibility in each country for everything to be different. So if you wanted to
including different
transliterate the language, you'd be able to do that if it was like French.
Or a different collection of SKUs.
Yeah, so what we hear from a number of people is I don't sell these products in Canada. And currently, the way that we're doing it, you can't differentiate. You have the same product base, you can differentiate price. So the way it is today, which works very efficiently, will allow you to have different currencies for your different agencies or your different marketplaces in different countries, but it's going to be selling the same product in all of those places. What's coming soon is the ability to break that up so that you can sell whatever you want either in any country, whatever the price is going to be, different product options, different variants, those type of things. So that's where we are today and where we'll be shortly as we get the product options put in.
I had some questions too around the different fees and everything. So most of it, just to emphasize again, if you are utilizing Stream, there can be some new monthly fees that are going to apply, but our team would be working with you on that process and letting you know what that would be before you incur any of those new charges. In terms of Stream Lite, the yearly fee for Stream Lite is still $375 per year as of April.
Yep. Let's see what, oh, and by the way, I think there's some people on here, if you're already fully integrated using Brandwise and we're getting tokens into your ERP and all that's good, this doesn't apply to you. You're already set, just FYI. So if you're already seeing some of that, I think there may be a few of you on here that are already integrated. This has been great. It's probably good information for you to hear, but you're already set. There's nothing that you'll need to do in addition. And also understand that that September 7th date, the reason we're doing this now, you have time. Nothing's going to change between now and then. So we want to get you signed up, get you ready. Any questions you have, you can let us know, that type of stuff. But you know, it's not like when we hang up the phone, you're going to be no longer receiving credit cards. That will happen on that September 7th date, but there's plenty of time between now and then to get sorted out.
Awesome. I think that we've covered most of the questions that are coming through. If there's anything that we have missed for you, please feel free to raise your hand and we'll go ahead and unmute you. But otherwise, we're coming right up onto that hour, so we want to respect your guys' time and end here by 1 o'clock. We'll just kind of hang tight in case there's anything else coming in.
Andrew Markle, how did I do? It's actually okay. That's okay.
You said you did well.
There we go. Thank you.
I just want to make one, I've answered the question for a couple of people, but it's one of the more exciting things that we've got coming up. So we continue to make some pretty good front end changes. One of the things that we're going to be changing as well for you suppliers that are trying to hotspot on Macs, we're in the process of redoing the hotspot editor. We're probably 75 or 80% of the way through that. It will work, Silverlight's out of it, totally rewritten. It's not dependent on Internet Explorer. It will work on your Mac natively when that's done. And you'll be able to access it from Passport. So that's coming very soon. It's about 80% of the way completely rewritten. So there is light at the end of the tunnel for us Mac users.
Todd, I see the only question that we didn't answer so far is just if Stream can be integrated with Square.
Stream is not, yeah, so I don't, it depends on how that is. If it's the Square credit card processor that's being used, then that's potentially something that can be done. If it's actually a device for Square, right now we're not doing any integration with a card device because you don't have the card. So I imagine you're talking about the Square processor. If that's one of the ones that's on that list of about 65 when you fill the form out, the answer would be yes. If not, then that's one of those that we would go to Hosted PCI to see if they're currently, if that's currently on the roadmap or something we would get them to do. And that's something we'll talk to you about one-on-one based on these processes or outside of the 65 or so that we're currently, that Hosted PCI currently handles.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us here live. We are right up at 1 o'clock, so you will be getting access to some links with the webinar recording as well. So if you have anyone on your team that wasn't able to attend, please feel free to share that recording link with them too. Within that quick,
skip the first 3 minutes while I was trying to get my computer to work.
Within that quick start guide, that's also going to be where we're going to update that web page to include some of the slides and everything from today's presentation. Yeah. You won't necessarily see it as a PowerPoint, but instead like a PDF that you can go back and reference. So if you guys have any other requests or information that you want to see, we'll also be publishing a lot of that within the Brandwise Support Center too. And we love to hear what requests you have on the Brandwise Insiders group. So thank you guys so much for joining us today.
Do the work. The interface is easy. It's going to make your work better. It's going to make your admin less painful. It's going to decrease your canceled orders. It's going to increase your speed with being able to do all kinds of aspects of it. I really encourage you to do it. You've got 2 months and nearly 3 months to get it done. So get it done.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Howard.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good weekend. Well, Friday.